Willem Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe.
William Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe is one of the most versatile actors of our time. He's been beheaded in David Lynch's Wild at Heart. He's had his hand mutilated by the Nazis in The English Patient. He's even had boiling hot wax stripped on his naked chest by Madonna, which is probably a fate better than death.
The Last Temptation of Christ.
Platoon, At Eternity's Gate, Spider-Man.
Such an industrious career. Is there anything that still scares you as a performer?
Sure.
You were our most watched actor of 2022 and 2021.
That's who the fuck I am.
While he is marvelous as a good guy, we really like him when he plays the bad guy.
You have such you're a very intimidating look. I'm sure you've heard that before.
I've got a pretty flexible face and expressive face, and I don't censor it. I let it do its thing.
My face has a mind of its own.
How do you calibrate your performance when you're going about big dramatic scenes, but you know, the tone of the film is not one of the sort of classic drama?
Wow, way over the top.
Always cracks me up just watching him just overact in that movie.
Some people tell me that my acting is over the top. Sometimes they say I'm mad, but to me, one man's over the top is another man's engaged performance. A grain of madness is the best of art. You have to ask yourself, how do I do this? Because each time it's different.
My favorite performances generally are where actors disappear.
Nobody can just disappear, can they? Disappear.
If you can forget you're an actor and just be engaged in what you're doing, it's a good place to start. Willem Dafoe was born in Appleton, Wisconsin. Well, Harry Houdini. Houdini grew up there.
Your parents were in the medical profession. So, I mean, were they people who are interested in theater? What did the bug bit for you?
Where the hell did you find acting?
Grew up in a family of 8 kids, which is pretty big. Your parents work together, they're gone. It's a tribe. You've got a chaotic household. You got to find your identity. My way was, I was the, believe it or not, you know, the comedian or the prankster, you know. I didn't know anybody that made their living as an artist or a performer. And I'd hitchhike down to University of Wisconsin-Madison. They had lots of cinema clubs at that time, so you'd see all these foreign films and stuff that you would never see at your local theater. Yeah. And that was the beginning. I was like a normal kid, and I never thought I'd be an actor. I grew to like movies when I was very young, but I never really formally formed the idea of being an actor. And I remember one of the first films I saw was The Magician. I love that film. There's beautiful things in it. Well, all my brothers and sisters pretty much took professional paths, and my parents were very happy to pay for their education. When I said I was thinking about going to school for acting, they were like, oh, fine, you do whatever you want, but when you get ready, we'll help you with your education. You know, they didn't consider that.
You studied drama at the University of Wisconsin
in
Milwaukee, right?
It was a good experience, but 3 semesters, and let's face it, American universities don't teach a lot. I took some courses at a university, and when I was at the university, I was only 17 years old. Some people saw me at the university. They had a small theater company, and I started working with them.
Wow.
Yeah, in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, a company called Theater X. I always assumed that I'd grow up and I'd do something else. It was cool because they created original work. They had a small theater that we rented, and we worked all the time, and it was self-managed. We basically did shows there in a small factory building. Then I did that for a little while. We got picked up by a European producer, so it was exciting because I was like 18 years old and traveling in Europe with these shows and things. And I was seeing all these shows from around the world. I got friendly with with specifically Richard Schechner from the performance group in New York, and he said, hey, if you ever want to come by New York, come by. I loved the people at Theater X, but I had an ambition. But after 2 years, I couldn't resist the siren call of New York City.
Greatest trick Houdini ever pulled was getting out of Appleton.
So I moved there. Had no money and rented an apartment on 10th and Avenue A for $200 a month.
You have a theater group down in SoHo, the Wooster Group. Right.
And that's where I learned how to act.
But the theater that you started with was fairly experimental, right? Or the Wooster Group.
Which was great training for film.
Yeah.
because of that practicality. The one thing, I learned many things there. It really shaped me as an actor, being at the Wooster Group for 27 years, a small company downtown that still exists. Probably the principal thing I learned was, the technicians were like actors and the actors were like technicians. There was a very, egalitarian approach to things, and also everything was very practical. It was about, for me, it was about the quality of being there, the quality of how you do things. It wasn't some grand show. It wasn't some showing. It wasn't some interpreting.
It wasn't your usual Broadway play.
It was inhabiting and trying to find a kind of engagement, a kind of grace.
Your film debut is kind of notorious.
Roll 'em. Action.
Heaven's Gate. Know the film? Oh, yeah. The truth is, I laughed during a lighting setup that where we were standing in place for 8 hours. And someone told me a joke, I laughed.
That's your debut credit, except you're not in it.
Michael Cimino didn't like that. He turned around and he said, Willem, step out.
Well, I'm in it, but I got fired halfway through.
And basically said, that's it.
4-time Oscar nominee, legendary actor, fired from his first movie.
But you can't do this to me.
I'm not even thinking of a career. I'm just want to be with fun people and interesting people and feel good about myself and feel like I'm learning things. And that's what I'm doing with the Wooster Group. And then somebody sees me, besides the Heaven's Gate, somebody sees me and says, hey, we're doing this movie. We think you'd be great for this role. And they send me a script. And I read it, and it ended up being The Loveless, Catherine Bigelow's first movie.
Bingo.
I love the day of making the movie and making the day, and I like the adventure of this family coming together and making something going away. So that all appealed to me. It was similar to what I was doing in the theater, but of course different in many ways. So I thought, yeah, I like this too. Why can't I do both?
I'm not interested in doing a job. I'm interested in helping an artist do what they need to do. They're behind the camera. They need someone to be their creature. I'm a color in the canvas, and I love that. It made me love going with people to a place, creating something, and having this adventure. I'm from the theater, and that was my identity, but this was a whole new thing for me. So I thought, this is cool. So that was the beginning of that, I'd say.
Platoon, I knew before I saw it from things I'd heard that it was a really fantastic film, but it's even more extraordinary than I thought, and your performance is absolutely marvelous.
Thanks.
One thing, actors always talk about preparation, but the preparation for that was really hardcore. They dropped us out in the middle of the Filipino jungle with some some Vietnam vets, and they trained us.
God.
And no phone calls, no agents, no clothes, nothing. But I think that was very important because we learned how to do some things. So that helps with the pretending because you get something in your body, and how to move through the jungle, how to, navigate.
At any time, Willem, when you were making the film, did you have thoughts about what if I actually had been in this situation for real during Vietnam?
I think I would have been a little bit like Elias, and I think I probably wouldn't have made it. Then the worm has definitely turned for you, man. Feel good? Feeling good's good enough.
Willem Dafoe in Platoon.
When I heard about the Oscar nomination for Platoon, I was at home, and the thing that was really special about it is my son's babysitter called me. He's the one that told me.
And the winner is Michael Caine and Hannah and her sister.
First time? Yeah.
Even though I didn't win, I was nominated, and I got offered all kinds of things. And I was kind of overwhelmed by it because I kept on looking at stuff and said, well, this is great. This is a great opportunity, but I don't feel it. It's not right for me. And I waited a long time because it felt like they were indiscriminately throwing stuff at me because I was a new face.
Over the years, I was always interested in making a film on Jesus.
And I get a call, Martin Scorsese wants to talk to you. He wants to send you a script. And I say, yes.
And they say, Last Temptation of Christ. And I'm like, really? What role?
Were you intimidated at the thought of playing Jesus?
You played Jesus
How was
Christ.
the research on that?
I played a Jesus Christ, not the Jesus Christ. We weren't doing Jesus for all time. We were doing our Jesus.
Jesus was fully human and fully divine. The human nature can't accept that fact until the very last moment, until human nature is suffering.
And then I read the script, and I say, I get it. I'm the right guy to do it. That's what I like to feel. I gotta feel like I'm the guy to do this, you know? Sometimes if I feel like 1,000,000 people could do it, I step away.
Did you have conversations with him about who was Jesus? How do I play this role?
No, because this story is really, the beautiful thing about this story, I had to cleanse myself of all that dialogue. Because that had to be a personal thing.
I had to approach it real freshly and just kind of put myself in the story and listen to the teachings, feel my way through it, struggle through the role, much like the character struggles through the story.
It is accomplished!
Did playing Jesus change any of your views of religion?
Absolutely.
And what did it change?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know exactly, but maybe what I tried to express right now, that I like making things, not so much interpreting things. There's a big difference.
Mm-hmm. Platoon and Last Temptation of Christ were two very important roles for me.
Wild at Heart is a love story that barrels along down a strange highway through the twisted modern world.
The best experiences are always when you get a good setup, and David Lynch gave me such a good setup.
The second I put in the fake teeth, the second I put on that wardrobe, that was it.
You know, the best directors really give you a world, and then you enter that world, and you know what you got to do.
So I just wanted to take a walk in those boots in that world.
There was a tendency early in your career to try to stereotype you as a villain.
Sure.
Mainly because you look like you could be a great villain in pretty much any movie if they tried to put you in it.
Living in bad neighborhoods and trying to be an artist and being poor, I think I had to adopt a good game, game face.
Right.
And so I think I was a little practiced at playing a tough guy.
Yeah.
And I'm not, and I wasn't.
You're such a nice guy, and I thought you were going to be a freak.
No, I don't think so.
But you're such a nice, you know what I mean? Because you play weird guys so much.
I'm totally nice.
You're so nice.
I'm an actor. If you're not conventionally handsome or conventionally charming or have a little pattern or have a good persona that's like, you know, attractive in a Hollywood way, the best roles are usually antagonists.
That's sort of why there may be a touch of sensitivity about the idea that he's slightly typecast as the evil, scary guy in everything.
For sure. Yeah.
A handful of films that I've done, if they happen to be a handful of films where I played what are perceived as negative characters, then they'll say, wow, you're always the bad guy. I don't perceive it that way. And even in sometimes in movies where someone might perceive you as a bad guy, I don't perceive it as a bad guy because I'm trying to identify with the guy. I'm trying to elevate him. I'm not trying to not judge him. I'm trying to give him a chance, you know.
If you're playing any character, you want to inhabit that person. Consider being that person in all their complexity. Shadow of the Vampire, second time I got nominated.
That, I feel like, is a prime example of, like, Willem Dafoe just disappearing into a role, of course, and doing that insane physicality performance and finding liberation in that.
There's all kinds of movies, and clearly some characters, their function is to be a bad guy or a good guy. Right. But you're not thinking about that. You're playing the scenes. You're trying to find the dynamic. You're trying to find the human aspect of it. And you got to represent that person.
Spider-Man was held up in legal limbo. And finally, this year, we're going to see the Spider-Man movie, which some would say is about 20 years in the making.
The Green Goblin, you like that? Mr. James. Made it up myself.
I think of my role in this movie as Norman Osborn first, and the Green Goblin grows out of an aspect of Norman Osborn. And Norman Osborn is an interesting character because he's got a dark side and light, positive side.
And there's a dark side to that and a light side. And the Green Goblin is the manifestation of that dark side.
I mean, there's certain things that I have to get comfortable with. This character flies around on this flying machine. I've got to learn how to do that. I've got to get comfortable with being in this real extreme costume. That's exactly what it does. It helps just to stimulate your pretending. It takes you away from yourself. That was a great experience, and it was fun, and I liked the movie. This is a personal confession, but I only get peeved that they forget the father role. One of the beauties of the movie was the interplay between the comic and the dramatic.
Yeah.
And the father's role was beautiful for that, because he was kind of funny, and there were comic moments, but he was also scary. He was a tragic figure. Really, I thought that was a good role. Yeah. And while the action stuff is cool, people forget that.
What do you think? I don't know. I still don't know how I feel about this.
My friends were like, really? You're going to make a cartoon movie? Some of them snobbed it, but I thought, no, this will be cool. This is interesting. Movies from comics were not a normal thing. It felt like something new.
We have a new world to conquer.
You'd make something like Spider-Man movie, and it's so widely seen that for a lot of people, that's what you get recognized for.
Leave me alone, please. Hiding in the shadows.
I was at an event where you were at recently, and I saw them outside throwing Spider-Man things for you to sign. Maybe that's something that you get asked about a lot.
Hiding from who you truly are.
Oh. The Green Goblin.
You can't escape yourself.
Jesus Christ is sitting here. Antichrist is sitting here. The Green Goblin is sitting here. Where do they go?
And you went all the way to Hollywood to come back to do the avant-garde. You don't get away from your roots.
I never went to Hollywood. I've been someone that worked in New York, worked at a theater every day, and then occasionally I'd go off to do movies. And those movies kind of stacked up, and they have a different profile than theater does. But the truth is, day to day, I was 90% a theater actor. You can do a movie like, a good example is Antichrist.
It's quite a dark film, and it's caused quite a lot of controversy. When you agreed to do the film, did you know what you kind of let yourself into?
This movie was so tough, you had to humanize the characters. And the relationship with Lars helped me to, that was part of the fuel for that inner life of that character. That movie haunted me because the experience was so extreme and so engaging and interesting. And
when you say it, I go like this because,
But that stays with me. That stays with me, but only as a memory. That character isn't around anymore. They go where they live, right here.
Well, that's it. That would make me nuts.
The Florida Project, it's filmed by Sean Baker, and it takes place near Disney World in Florida, among this strip of hotels or motels that used to probably be tourist motels, but now they house families and kids and people without a lot of money.
And it's everywhere. It's not just Florida. And we had a similar thing in maybe the 80s in New York with SROs, where they were taking people that didn't have homes and putting them in SROs.
This is a film that you're the odd one out in this case, because the other players are first-timers, non-actors, kids, and you've been making movies for 40 years.
My feelings as a person, as an actor in the process, kind of were paralleled by my role in the movie, because it was loose enough that I did have to wrangle them. I did have to look out for them. I did have to watch what they were doing. I did have to deal with their chaos.
And it's exciting because you see these people, they have nothing to compare it to. There's no, there's a pride, but there isn't kind of a careerist professionalism. They're in this, and they're engaging in this project as if it's going to be the first and last thing they ever do.
This is a third Oscar nomination for you, all in different decades. That's unbelievable.
The beauty of it was I had to learn how to paint. I had to be painting, right? Because this isn't a traditional biopic. It's really about painting and about being an artist. I can't do anything else, and believe me, I've tried.
I'm curious to hear if you equate that to acting. Do you feel like you were born to be an actor? Is there nothing else that you can do?
It's what I like doing.
Yeah?
I'd like to share my vision with people who can't see what I see the way I see.
That got you your 4th Academy Award nomination.
I wonder if you're hard on yourself, like if you've learned to be more or less judgmental as you've gone through this career, because I would think as an actor, it just invites self-criticism.
I think I am, but maybe less so because, you know, you see rhythms of failure and success and appreciation and rejection and all that.
A soldier in Platoon.
Michael Caine in Hannah and Her Sister.
The Undead portraying a silent film star in Shadow of the Vampire.
Benicio del Toro in Traffic.
You want things to go well, but you know you survive things.
A motel manager in The Florida Project.
Sam Rockwell, 3 billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri.
I always like this idea of trying to fail.
And Vincent van Gogh in At Eternity's Gate.
And the Oscar goes to?
What do you mean?
Rami Malek.
This is the first Oscar and nomination for Rami Malek.
Nothing, fuck! I've never seen any fucking thing like this in my fucking life!
Kicking yourself for not doing better. So you got to deal with this striving impulse, which can hurt you. You've got to find ways to let you not worry and be free. So I'm just saying, sometimes I flirt with ideas of fucking things up or not being hard on myself, or, you know.
There's no success like failure, and failure is no success at all, right? You know, success can can corrupt too. It can be the end of the line. It can play with your kind of pure ambitions. You can start to focus on the wrong things. I don't know. That's why I do these movies, to figure this stuff out. And guess what? You don't need to have an answer, right? It's all about being engaged with the question.
Some people act to gain success. Willem happens to be successful because he loves to act.
He has appeared in more than 100 movies, from Hollywood blockbusters to art house films. He says he has lived a nomadic life.
Needless to say, when I was a kid, growing up in Appleton, Wisconsin, believe me, I couldn't envision this day of getting a star on the Walk of Fame.
Never wanting to be a star, choosing instead to disappear into his roles.
It's always about going towards something, and the purity of that going towards something, and the purity of that engagement. That's what protects you, and that's what keeps you going on, and that's what makes you not even think about whether something's a success or a failure. The truth is, I have my best experiences when I feel like I can disappear into the material. That's the kind of peace and the kind of engagement that will not get you inflated if you have a success, and not devastate you if you have a failure. Become part of the fabric of the material.
Won't anyone be wondering about you?
And that's what I always look to do.
We all disappear sometimes, right?